So this video is for people who are like sitting on the fence and deciding, should I start riding a motorcycle? What would happen? Is it a big undertaking, or is it something that I'm just going to shrug off? And it's also for the people who maybe have been riding and they're thinking maybe they want to quit, or they only want to ride for a bit and then they're going to stop. So I didn't start riding until I was around 36 years old. Like that was the first time that I actually sat on a motorbike. Although I was really into like BMX riding as a kid, like BMX riding was everything for me when I was a kid, but I never actually sat on a motorbike until I was about 35 or 36 years old. So I've got like both sides of the fence, and I can tell you that I did not foresee, I didn't imagine how big it was, how deep it was, like how much it would consume, you know, your being, me as a person, how much it would take up. So today I want to talk about, you know, is motorcycle riding addicting? And if it is, how addicting? What makes it appealing and addicting? Can you just start and try it for a bit and then quit? So anyway, welcome to my channel where we talk about bikes and Bible verses, and as usual at the end we've got a Bible verse, so please stick around for that. There are like obvious reasons why motorcycle is appealing or even addicting. You know, they look cool, they go fast, it's like a little toy, only it's for big boys. But what I want to explain is that it's addicting for a lot of other reasons that you might not have even thought of. There are things that I never could foresee before I started riding. The things that nobody told you. But to start, let's just go over some of the obvious reasons. And the first is the feeling of riding. So once you get over the external appeal and actually get to sit on a bike for the first time, you start to become addicted because of the feeling of riding, what it feels like. There are things ingrained, you know, in our primal feelings in humans, why we desire fatty foods or foods with high calorie, high sugar. You know, we desire a shelter, a nice house, a warm fire. These are primal desires, primal feelings, you know, sexual desires, desires for rolling green grass and beautiful streams of water. The reason that we as humans desire these things is because they led to our survival, and we like them, and it's tied in with human survival. Another primal desire that not many people talk about is the primal desire for effortless travel. Travel was a key to survival, and it was, you know, travel was a means of obtaining our other basic desires that I mentioned before. But travel is tiresome, and if you make small gains in travel with a lot of effort, then this jeopardizes your survival. So this struggle has kind of been rewarded at glitch speed in a computer game or something, with the innovation of automobiles. And when cars were invented, boy did we like it. You know, the second biggest financial purchase that a person makes after buying a house is a car. You don't need to be an enthusiast to like cars. Everyone loves cars, fast ones, expensive ones. People love the feeling of moving when you're not exerting force. A motorcycle takes all that pleasure from the car and compacts it in a way where your mind is tricked into thinking that there's an extension to your own body. You know, when you're riding a motorcycle, it feels like you're floating or hovering over the road. You know, power, you've got the power tapped, you just twist the wrist and you got huge amounts of power that propels you forward. Many bikes can go faster than the free fall terminal velocity of a human body. Furthermore to this is the ability to float sideways. So the inertia and the speed of the combined mass of you and on the bike, plus the gyroscopic forces and sticky tires, can make you defy gravity. So the speed and the size and the defiance of gravity appeals to the primal human instinct of effortless movement. It's like you're flying. But be careful, because with much power comes much responsibility. So riding is addicting because people like the feeling of riding, the feeling of effortless travel, almost like you're hovering or flying. The second part that makes people get hooked or makes people stay in riding is the community. This isn't a thing that I knew. I realized this like after I started riding, but before that, like, I wasn't someone who had much friends. Like, I didn't really go out much with my friends, and I had some friends, but I wasn't the type of person to sort of mix around a lot with a lot of people. And I also used to think before I started that riding was like a lonely endeavor, but once you start, you're instantly part of the community. The brothers and sisters that you instantly inherit. Once you get on that bike, you inherit instantly brothers and sisters. That includes online community websites, forums, YouTube, and clubs, groups, group membership, club membership. You might think that it's a joke, but you'd be surprised how quickly you get swooped up into a club or a group once you start riding. And they're not all engaged in crime-related activities. Furthermore, like, the ability to openly and casually just walk up to a complete stranger and start a conversation and feel like there's this inner connection between that other person who's a rider, like some kind of soulmate. There's the wave and the nod when we ride past each other. We stop and jump out of our cars to help some biker who's stranded, to push his, help him push his bike, or at least wave a jerry can saying, hey bro, do you need some fuel? That's a true story, by the way. If you start riding, be prepared to be part of a group, even if it's an online one. Don't go about this on your own. Like, you need bikers, and bikers need you. The third point that makes riding appealing and makes you kind of want to stay in it, or at least it was for me, is that it builds up like physical and mental ruggedness and toughness. Kind of like the gym junkie aspect, why people get addicted to going to the gym for that physical build up. But with riding, it's more than just physical, it's also mental toughness. Like me personally, I was kind of like a timid, nerdy, submissive, bookish type person, and motorcycle riding sort of started to transform that aspect. You're quite exposed when you ride a motorcycle. You're exposed to the elements, and the mental hypervigilance when you're riding around in the streets, the street fighting through traffic, the physical demands of like pushing your bike around when you have to park it or when it's broken down, the physical demands of like wrenching, and you will start wrenching, even if it's like for minor small oil changes or something, you will end up doing it. So riding develops somewhat of a physical and mental toughness. There's also something about being constantly exposed to danger that makes the other things or people that you used to be intimidated by to seem like less significant. Also, those same people might want to think twice before trying to assert their dominance over you, because they now think you might have a bit of a screw loose because you ride a motorcycle. I mean, they don't realize that you're just hopelessly addicted to chasing that next ride. The last point I want to talk about that makes riding addicting is the environment of riding. Whether it's that crisp cold night with the moon shining with the stars, the sunny morning with the sweet scent of fresh air, riding that country road with the rolling green hills, bridges crossing streams and rivers, riding on that twisty mountain and canyon road. It takes away like a lot of the hustle and bustle, and it brings you back to the simplicity and beauty of the world around you, something that humanity is crying out for in this current age of digital screens. sins. So that were my points. I'll just share a Bible verse, and that's from Jeremiah 17:7 and 8. And it says, "Blessed is the person who trusts in the Lord and has confidence in the Lord. They'll be like a tree planted by the stream that sends its roots to the water. It's not afraid of the heat, and its leaves are always green, and it always bears fruit." And I relate to this verse a lot in my life, because I've seen the change in my life. You know, the blessing of being confident and trusting in God was a major pillar of my life, a major foundation personally. You know, even when problems come, as the verse says, that you don't need to be anxious, because you know your trust is in God. You've got a relationship. But when you're distant from God and you avoid like drawing your heart to God, then you will wither and dry out. You know, you don't need heat to dry you out. Even just the normal conditions will dry you out, because you're away from the source of life. You're not connected to the life-giving waters, which is God. So anyway, that's all I wanted to talk about. Don't forget, if you like this video, please give it a like, make a comment. If you like my content in general, please subscribe, and take it easy and ride safe.